Hello there! Today we watched Infinity War. Well, today we watched Infinity War, and like a couple of weeks ago you watched Infinity War.
I watched it like 2 days after it came out. The cinema was fucking packed.
It's great.
Yep.
It's really good.
By Marvel movie standards, it's fucking incredible.
Yeah, it's what you expect from a Marvel movie. Like, it's not, it ain't Citizen Kane, but fuck me, it's good though.
It's entertaining. The thing I had was like, it's not like it's an incredible movie in terms of Citizen Kane and shit like that, but it was just entertaining as all hell.
Yeah.
Like, it was so much fun.
And it's the Russo brothers who did
Civil War.
who didn't do the other Avengers movies, but they did the last two Captain America movies, which are my other favorite Marvel films.
Wait, they did Winter Soldier?
Yeah,
they
That explains why it was so good.
Yeah, Winter Soldier was fucking amazing. And they did Civil War. It's a really cool movie. You've probably already seen it because it's like a big blockbuster movie. If you're like me, who you don't watch that many superhero movies, but you like, I would recommend watching a couple of Marvel movies, like the last couple of Captain America films and Thor Ragnarok, and watching this because
the Avengers movies stuff.
Yeah, it's absolutely worth seeing. I think it's better. I haven't seen Avengers 2. I think it's absolutely better than the first one, though.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the first one.
This
one's even better.
Yeah.
Won't go into spoilers, but it is a sad movie at times.
Oh, shit,
like, it's
yeah.
fun. Like, the sense of humour. In fact, actually, a criticism I have of the film is, even though the humour's good, particularly with the Guardians of the Galaxy characters, even though it wasn't the same, it wasn't James Gunn, they nailed the Guardians of the Galaxy
Oh, hell
humour.
Oh, yeah.
The problem...
Star-Lord, I felt, was like a little bit off.
Really,
He was a little bit out of character.
One of the things I liked about Star-Lord in this was that the conflict made sense to the point where he made mistakes, and he was in situations where he had to make shitty decisions, which I really liked.
I love Star-Lord.
Yeah, I like the fact that it was like
He wasn't always likable.
All his pain came to a head.
Yeah.
Like I liked that and the way they set it up. I just felt like the way they did the rest of his character, they really shafted him. Like, they didn't give him like enough credit for. They basically played him as like the butt of all Rocket's jokes, which I wasn't a massive fan of.
Fair.
But yeah, overall, like, pretty much all the characters got like a pretty decent amount of screen time. Like, some like Captain America and Black Panther were not paid their dues, like, in terms of screen time. But
they've had their own movies.
Yeah, they've had their own movies, and I would say, Space Team way more interesting than
I found like there's two major battles going on at one point, because I mean the movie lives up to its title. It is a war.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like Civil War where it's like a brawl. It's a war.
It was basically a fist fight in a 7-Eleven parking lot.
I love Civil War. It's an amazing film. In some ways,
if you read the comic, you hate it though.
In some ways, it's better than Infinity War, but
in some senses.
This was actually a war, but the battles that were happening up in space were more interesting to me, because
the characters
and the stakes seemed to the stakes were just as high, but I don't know. Also, Thanos may be the best Marvel villain ever.
Yeah,
he's a pretty fucking good villain.
Like,
he's actually got motivation.
Yeah, he's pretty much the protagonist of the movie.
Yeah, I've seen videos about that, how like he's actually the protagonist, and
I mean,
in
he's
the context
wrong.
of it
Like, he is wrong, but you understand his point of view. You're sympathetic to him to an extent.
I love the memes.
You never truly sympathise with him, but
like, because he wants to wipe out half the life in the universe, and no one can live in poverty, and everyone just goes, "Oh, well, why didn't you just increase like double the resources?" And then this is all the memes like, "Have you not followed Immanuel Kant's philosophy? How have you know?" Like, that's not how economics works and shit like that. Like, so the memes this movie spawned is actually fucking incredible.
Speaking of the memes, I won't spoil it. If somehow you haven't had this spoiled for you, good for you, because I had it spoiled for me.
Yep,
but the thing
here.
that's been
It's
memed,
partially me. I'm sorry.
the thing that's been memed the most, which is the Mr. Stark "I don't feel so good" thing, that out of context of the memes, but in context of the film, that shit is heart wrenching. I thought I was gonna fucking cry.
I was sobbing, like basically there was just like tears,
people in the theater. And we saw this movie with the loudest, dumbest fucking people.
I heard about this.
Like, you know how in the movies, like the guy at the beginning of the film is like, "Turn off your phones. No distracting screens."
I love the View voice. It's
no
great.
talking.
I love
like, these motherfuckers behind me. It was like, "Hey, that's Captain America." I'm like, "Yeah, we're all watching it."
Yeah, they were so annoying. And then, I must admit, like, the best part is when it goes, "This is not a cinema," and then you pretend to walk out.
I literally do that every time. It's like, it's the same repetitive joke. Oh, by the way, something I want to bring up, because I haven't heard anyone mention this in their reviews, and so I don't know if it was just our cinema that did it, but it was really cool. Mm-hmm. I won't spoil what the ending is, don't worry, but at the end of the film, there's a moment that involves light, all right? Mm-hmm. In some capacity. And the cinema lights came on at the same time and did the same thing as the lights in the film were doing, which I thought was really cool.
It was
That
really
is
cool.
And I wonder if it was just like a time-based thing, though, like on the end credits, they automatically go on.
But it didn't, because they normally do it once the
black
directed
screen
by
comes
comes
up.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This actually happened in time. Did it
Oh, in
happen at your
time.
screening as well?
I can't really remember. It was a while ago. I didn't pay much
Right, if it
attention.
if it happened, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So the lights are the same color and everything. Write in the comments if it happened. We're kind of rambling a bit, but like there are things that didn't work about it. I thought it had that Russo brothers pacing, which is
Yeah.
kind of good in the sense that it's entertaining. The thing with this Marvel, but it doesn't have that 3-act rising and falling action.
It had the 5-act structure, but like really playing
Yeah.
around with a lot. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
as
like-
someone who appreciates inventive screenwriting and directing, I appreciate.
There's
it.
nothing wrong with challenging the form.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I love it when people
like,
challenge.
I mean,
the
like
form.
my favorite filmmakers are Stanley Kubrick and David Lynch. So
Yeah.
like I love it when people challenge
The
the form.
reason I liked it was because Marvel has become so stagnant and stuck in a formula in the past couple of years that to the point where I hated Black Panther because it was so formulaic that this was like it almost felt like a breath of fresh air
Yeah.
even after like 10 years.
It was
of
a
the films.
really,
It was
really
really I was really grateful for it.
Yeah, and I wasn't bored at all during the entire film. Like it was really
Yeah.
it was interesting, and I was happy, and I had an emotional attachment to the characters, which
Yeah.
usually considering I don't really like Kate films, I've been sort of like building up to it for the fact
Yeah.
for
We started
Infinity
watching
War.
them. We watched Civil War with my mum, who sat there explaining bits to us because we hadn't seen Avengers
Oh really?
2.
You should have just invited me.
So it was like the inverse of what normally happens with the kids explaining things to the parents. We had my mum going, "Okay, now that's Vision." And then,
I love Vision. I
Vision's,
love Paul Bettany.
Vision's
Paul
cool. I
Bettany's
really
great,
like Paul
underrated.
Bettany.
He's,
Can
he's
I-
underrated.
Yeah, can I give the film like some props that I wasn't expecting to give it? And that was, I'm one of the 3 people in the universe that absolutely despise Spider-Man Homecoming as a film. I thought it was hot garbage, it's overrated.
Haven't
and
seen it.
It's
Me neither.
absolutely atrocious. I hated it.
I refuse to believe it. Whatever, if it's good or bad, it's not as good as Spider-Man 2, so who cares?
Hell no. And
Like-
it's not as good as The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I have a soft spot for that movie. It's real.
Let's
I like
leave.
the movie. But I hated Spider-Man Homecoming mainly because I hated Peter Parker in it and I hated the way they did Spider-Man. I thought it was ridiculous. I still had an emotional response to Spider-Man in Infinity War
Yeah.
at
Got a
every
great-
point.
he's got a
Like
great relationship
there's
with
a
Tony
point
It really
where
works.
there's a point where without spoilers his life is at risk and I actually cared.
Yeah.
And that was incredible to me because I hate Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I think he's a great actor. I don't like him as Spider-Man. I think he's
I'm gonna
annoying.
have to
I think he's
respectfully-
whiny.
Respectfully disagree.
His Spider-Man isn't quippy. His Peter Parker is annoying. Like the rest of the movie like has faults in itself, but like
He doesn't
that's the
speak
reason.
for us.
No.
Okay, that's fair enough. I didn't like it. I like the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I think Andrew Garfield was the best Spider-Man.
I disagree.
Tobey Maguire,
I
or bust.
think.
Tobey Maguire was great, but I love.
I
Andrew
think
Garfield.
Andrew Holland. Was it Andrew?
Andrew Holland, fucking hell.
Yeah, I think.
I'm actually like
yeah,
a
I think-
hybrid.
Yeah.
Now.
No, I think Tom Holland might be my favourite Spider-Man, and
You haven't seen
he,
Spider-Man
he has a
Homecoming yet, you
great
can't say.
he has a great relationship. You know,
I
with,
love the relationship with Tony Stark.
So
I do.
because they do the dad thing, obviously Tony Stark lost his dad at a young age and everything kind of. So being the father figure, it all really works very well. And of course, he mentions earlier in the film we had a dream about having a child and all this stuff. That's really good. And you know, I could criticize the pacing a little bit and the tonal shifts. Like I mentioned, the humor because it has that
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy humor. It's very funny, but the stakes are so fucking high that sometimes the humor doesn't really work. But I will say, you know, I mentioned earlier, Thanos is the best villain that we've ever had in the MCU. I think.
I argue one of them. I wouldn't say absolutely for
You
definite.
know,
'cause
except, I mean, maybe like I really like Loki, but
I really love Loki.
you know,
yeah.
I don't know.
Loki's good.
I really think that
Loki's good in the movie as well.
yeah,
Actually.
I think Thanos is probably my favorite villain that we've had.
Yeah.
Most of the cast don't get shafted, and I have to say the acting is better in this one than in a lot of the others.
Oh Christ! The
I
acting is
don't-
impeccable.
I don't rate Chris Hemsworth or Chris Pratt that much as actors, but I love them both in this film. And Peter Dinklage, by the way,
Oh, shit.
who is in this movie, he
He's
has
cool.
he has a fucking ball, doesn't he? He's like this great Shakespearean actor, and he just is not taking the material seriously
Oh
at all.
Christ!
Yeah.
He's just having a riot. He's having such a good time.
Interestingly enough, apparently about 30% of the script was made up on the spot. Like Thor Ragnarok, apparently when they went on set, they had no script.
I know
It was
Thor
just
Ragnarok was very heavily
worked.
improvised.
Apparently, like there was like half a structure for Infinity War, so
Yeah, like I think there's a certain part of the film that I know of that was completely was a complete improv,
Yeah,
and it's amazing.
but the
considering-
Drax scene.
No.
Oh no.
yeah. That's the Drax is very funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Drax is
Drax
great in
is-
this movie. If you
He's-
didn't like him before.
Yeah, like if you haven't, you've got to see Guardians of the Galaxy before you see this film.
Oh, shit,
because
yeah.
it won't make a lick of sense if you don't. Like
Yeah.
that's one of the ones you need to see. Is I forgot to mention it earlier. You need to watch Guardians of the Galaxy before you watch it. You know what? I was gonna point out something. Are you gonna? Sorry, you hadn't finished, had you?
And I was basically saying like that one particular scene in the film that is now is so well known for like regarding like people making memes out of it and everything like that. And it was one of the it's one of the improv scenes of the film, and it's really great how much of a response that you can get from that.
Yeah.
I was fuck, I'd forgotten the point I was going to make now. Shit. Oh no, that was it. You know these cinematic universes. What really works about this is that I think that film, you know, because I've felt for a while that these movies kind of feel like homework because you've got to kind of see them all. What works about it is that I think that because of Netflix and things like that, movies now have had to learn how to compete with TV. We had a point where TV was trying to compete with the movies, but now movies are trying to compete with TV because television has become the most dominant form of entertainment particularly for adults. You know, with things like Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, and Westworld, and shows like Twin Peaks coming back, and the X-Files coming back, and things like that. You know, movies just can't.
I like how he mentions the Twin Peaks reboot, and you take a drink.
Just that was a fucking hard. Those last couple of episodes was a hard watch.
Yeah.
Do you like 9 Inch Nails?
Like no spoilers, but that was a fucking hard watch. But yeah, you know, these movies feel like TV, which is great, but it's like TV but with multi-million-dollar budgets. Mm-hmm. So it's like they can now in cinema do what TV can with these huge stories with lots of different characters that all have arcs and journeys, and then but also have these like multi-million-dollar set pieces that are really incredible.
I see what you mean. Like you can take all the like the production values and the really in-depth stories that you get from like a long TV series and mix it with the art form that is cinema, because I fail to see TV as an art form, but I see like cinema as an art form. So like if you can take the good parts of TV and implant it into cinema, then you have a recipe for something absolutely incredible. Mm-hmm. And I think that actually that's what I couldn't work out what it was, but that's what did it for me in Infinity War. That's what I had found so fun about it.
It's a season finale, isn't it? And that's what these.
In a lot of senses. Well,
and that's what these Avengers movies are. Really, they're season.
Avengers
finales,
4 is going to be season 2, I think, like the first episode of season 2.
Because again, it's not a spoiler. They've confirmed that the film is sort of split in half because it doesn't really have an ending as such. It kind of just stops. Also, I mean, it makes perfect narrative and aesthetic sense to end where it does.
Yeah.
But it is. There's still more story to tell.
It's like half of a 4-hour film because the film's like 2.5 hours. Even 5-hour film actually because the film's like 2.5 hours.
Interestingly, apparently they haven't released the name of the next film because it was a spoiler.
Yeah, which is interesting.
So I imagine they'll release it like once it comes out on DVD or something like that.
Yeah, I will say that. So we should probably wrap this up. That's I forgot where I was going with this again. Yeah, it's a really cool movie, and it's got it's got an interesting tone to it. I think that I can't remember if I mentioned this at the beginning or not because we tried recording this once and it didn't go very well, so we did it again because again it's the wine. But the thing I was going to mention, if I didn't already, is that there's a bit of a bloodbath, this movie, Red Wedding situation, and I think some of the deaths are going to be permanent. Not spoiling which ones, but some of them I feel like they totally can retcon, but I hope they don't. Here's the thing:
some of them
they almost certainly will, but they shouldn't. I know it makes business sense to not kill off almost the entire cast, but I think that it makes artistic sense to do it.
Can I ruin it for you briefly? I know some of the deaths aren't permanent, and other people who know the lineup because. We have certain sequels coming out. I know about one or two sequels that come out. But I'm saying that for me, again, as a film fan, the artistic thing to do now and the thing that has the most integrity is to stick with it. At least keep some of them.
And to commit to the fucking bold ending this film.
I wouldn't mind.
That's my final line.
I'd be okay. Building on yours, I'd be okay with a certain level of retcon. But if they have the balls to keep some of the damage they did, like certain characters, ones that may not be overall important in the sequel, I would love that. But I wouldn't. I'd actually prefer it if some of the deaths got retconned, just because I'd like to see that happen on screen again.
I think I just think they should Red Wedding it.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think it would work. Genuinely, because I think a lot of the emotional impact it had was, oh my god, but it was brief. Meaning, because they're going to come back almost, that's where a lot of the emotional response came from, because you're like, oh, they're gone, but they're going to come back. So it made that, like, immediate moment more impactful. So you're like, oh, this is the one moment we're going to have without them, kind of thing.
All right.
I hope I'm making sense.
No, I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
Right, since this has been an insanely long one,
Christ,
I'd say let's wrap it up with our thoughts on the movie. What did,
And a grade or something, maybe?
Yeah, just
Yeah,
give it like a mark out of 10 or something.
I give it a solid 5 out of 7.
A perfect score.
Fucking
Yes.
resurrected that meme.
Oh boy! Wait, what was that
Must
guy's
have-
name?
That time stone.
Yeah, no, I'm.
Is that Brandon?
Give me the space stone. I need to transport
I
to
rate.
fucking Mars.
I rated it on IMDb as an 8 out of 10, and I think it's an 8 out of 10 movie. It's not perfect, but it's a really welcome sort of part of the franchise without it being, because from what I've heard, Age of Ultron is one of the worst of
That
of
is
the
not true.
films.
What? I will just have my 2 cents really quickly. Age of Ultron is panned because it's not as good as the first Avengers. There's no way it was going to be as good as the first Avengers. It's still a damn good movie. It's better than most of the MCU movies.
Okay.
It's just not given its dues because it had to live up to the first Avengers, which
Fair
nothing
enough.
ever could.
Fair enough, but
Give it a
yeah,
watch.
I'll probably watch it at some point.
Mm.
But yeah, like I had a massive emotional response to this film, which I wasn't expecting, but the fact that I did, just kind of goes to show how well made it was. So that's my final thoughts on it. I give it an 8 out of 10. Good film. I'll look forward to the next one.
I absolutely think you should see this movie, and you should see it in the cinema.
Yeah.
It's a spectacle.
Yeah, watch the other movies we mentioned in the MCU. You don't see the whole MCU, but watch the other ones. Absolutely,
We can make
should
a
see it.
list, can we?
Yeah, I'll post it in the fucking description.
in the description.
If you love good action movies and you like good humor and you don't mind investing almost 3 hours into a movie, absolutely should watch this because it's bloody good. And I would say about 8 out of 10. It's a damn good movie. I'll probably go and see it again before it closes.
Yeah.
I'll do you one better. Why is 8 out of 10? No, I'll give it 8.5 out of 10 actually. Feeling adventurous. Maybe a 9 actually, because mainly just based on like comparison to the other movies. Like I hated Black Panther and Spider-Man, things like that. And the fact that this movie made me really enjoy it, it made me have fun with it. It sort of elevated it just a little bit more. It's like I haven't had this much fun with a Marvel movie since Iron Man, the first Iron Man. So that's a personal thing.
I don't really like the first Iron Man.
Really?
I went to
Oh
see
no,
it.
tell like the Avengers. The Avengers did. I did like.
That's
Then I
like
hated
4
it.
fucking times
Then I
at the
liked it.
cinema. The first,
Really?
the first Avengers movie, yeah.
That was my first
Fucking
proper introduction
delighted
to
to be in
cinema.
that film.
So it held a special place in my heart. But yeah, I thought it was for Marvel, which I'm beginning to dislike. It really restored my faith and my love as a comic book fan, and I had a hell of a lot of fun with it. And I think it's one of the best Marvel movies to date. Definitely go see it.
Very
I'll
good.
probably
Yeah.
go see it again.
Yeah,
as
me
well.
too.
Drinking this wine so slowly yet, and the movements.
I'm drinking this wine so slowly.
No one can see me drinking mine. It's because I am invisible.
Go see the movie. It rules.